Hi guys, for this video I'm going to show you how to make a donut plushie, and I had used felt to make these, but feel free to use any type of material that you want. It's completely up to you. And then also you can decorate these plushies any way you want. So as you can see, I made a pink one, a mint one, and then I also made a chocolate one and a purple one. So these are the 4 different donut plushies that I made, but you can use any colors you want. So this is what the donut plushie looks like on the top, and then on the bottom and along the sides. And I just want to show you what the donut plushie looks like so you know what you're making. The link to the PDF pattern can be found down below in the description box, so if you are interested in making these donut plushies yourself, definitely be sure to go check out that link. Now with all that being said, let's jump right into this tutorial. The first step to making your donut plushie is to take the small rectangle piece, which is this piece right here, and you're just going to fold it in half, just like this, and then use the back stitch from here over to here. Before you can do any sewing, you're first going to have to thread out your needle with some thread that matches the same color as the material that you're using. But just for demonstration purposes, I'll be using a thread color that does not match the material, and I'm just doing that so it's easier to see the stitches and easier for you guys to learn. And if you don't already know how to thread out your needle, don't worry about it. It's actually really easy to do, and I have a video tutorial for it, so I'll link that up on the screen and you can go check that out and learn how to do it. So to do the back stitch, what you're going to do is take your sewing needle and make a stitch right around here, and then pull all the way. Then you're going to make a stitch right around here. Again, pull all the way. Then you're going to make a stitch back where you made that first stitch, so right around here, hence why it's called the back stitch. You'll pull all the way. And there you go. So you'll just continue doing that, and you'll make another stitch right over here, pull all the way, back where you made that other stitch, pull all the way, and then I'll show you that one more time. So you'll make a stitch over here, pull, and then over here, and pull. And you'll just keep doing that all the way to here. After you finish sewing this piece together, you're going to turn it inside out. Just like that. And then we're going to take this piece. So you're going to want to take the piece that is the color of the icing, and then you're going to put this piece around like that, and you're going to want to pull the thread up here too. Kind of like that. And then you're going to use the back stitch again and just sew around here to attach this antique white piece onto the pink piece. And to do that, you're just going to take this antique white piece and wrap it down around the pink piece. So they're going to like line up like this. And then you'll take your sewing needle and make a stitch . Like that, and then we'll do the back stitch. So just like I showed before, you'll make a stitch, go back where you made the previous one, whoop, pull, make a stitch over here, pull, go back where you made the previous stitch, that keeps getting caught, sorry about that. Oh. Pull. And I'll show you one more time. So you make a stitch, you pull, and then go back where you made that previous stitch and pull. And you'll just keep doing that all the way around. Once you get to this point, you're going to want to make a few knots at the end just to hold everything in place. And to do that, you'll just take your sewing needle and make a stitch kind of like this, and then go through the loop, pull all the way, and then just do that a few times. So here's one more, and then I'll do another one. And then you can just take your scissors and cut the thread. Next, we're going to turn this piece inside out, and to do that, you're just going to push the antique white piece in, just like that. And then you're going to take the other circle piece, which is this antique white piece right here, and you're going to place it up here like that. And then we're going to use the back stitch again, and we're going to use it to sew around the rectangle piece, to sew this piece onto this piece. Not gonna lie, this part is a little awkward to get started, but once you get it sewing, it gets easier. So what you're gonna do is take this piece and you're gonna kind of wrap it around like that, okay? And then you're gonna take your sewing needle and you'll start doing the back stitch. So you'll make your stitch, make another stitch over here, go back, make a stitch here, go back, and then you're just going to keep wrapping this piece around. At this point, this is what your plushie is going to look like. And now what you're going to do is take the two long rectangle pieces that are in the antique white color, and you're just going to place them right on top of each other like this. And then you're going to use the back stitch again and just sew across here and then make a few knots to hold it in place. And then you'll do the same thing on this side. So again, use the back stitch and then make a few knots to hold it in place. Once you have this piece sewn together, it's going to look like this. And now what you're going to do is take this piece again and you're going to turn it around like this. You're going to take this piece, and the first thing you're going to do is place it right around here. So you're going to want to line up this seam with that seam in here. So that piece, the little rectangle, that seam in there, do you see it? You're going to want to line this seam up with that. So once you're good with that, you're going to take a pin and you're just going to pin it in place. Just like that. Then you're going to turn this around and you're going to try to line this up so it makes like a straight line. So right like halfway, you're going to want to pin this up here. Then you're going to want to turn it around like this and kind of wrap this piece around the circle. And then right around that midpoint, you can put another pin. And then you'll do the same thing on this side. So again, wrap the piece around the circle as best you can. And then again, put a pin. Then you're going to use the back stitch again and just sew all the way around to attach this piece onto the antique white circle. And as you're sewing, you can just remove the pins. After you finish sewing these pieces together, you can turn this inside out like that. And now what we're going to do is take those two pink pieces, and then we're going to do basically the exact same thing we did for those long rectangle pieces. So you're going to place them right on top of each other. And then you're going to use the back stitch and sew across here and then make some knots, and then do the same thing on this side. So sew across and make a few knots. After you finish sewing the two pink pieces together, this is what it's going to look like. And we're going to put it on the plushie basically the exact same way that we had put the two antique white rectangles onto the plushie. But we're going to put it on the pink piece now. So you're going to take this piece and you're going to lay it on to the pink circle right around here. Oh, if I can get a hold of the pink circle. There we go. And you're going to want to line it up so that it's right in line with the seam. So you see how this up here is going right down in line with that seam on the antique white piece. And then you're just going to pin this in place. So we're going to take a pin and we'll put it right here like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, try to line it up with the seam on the antique white piece. Kind of like that. And then again, we'll pin this in place. And then just like we did before, we're going to wrap this around the pink circle. And then pin it down, and then do the same thing on the other side. So again, wrap it around the pink circle, and then pin it down, just like that. Then you're going to use the back stitch and sew all the way around to attach the two pink pieces together, and then just like before, as you're sewing, you can remove the pins. After you finish sewing the two pink pieces together, what you're going to do next is take the pink piece and then line it up with the antique white piece so that the seams are in line with each other. Then you're going to take a pin and just pin them together. Then you're going to do the same thing on this side. So again, just line up the seams and then pin them together. Then you're going to wrap the antique white piece around the pink piece. Pin them together. And then do the same thing on this side. So again, wrap the antique white piece around the pink piece. And again, pin them together. Now we're going to use the ladder stitch to sew the pink piece onto the antique white piece, and you're going to start around here and then sew all the way around to about there, and you're going to want to leave an opening. To do the ladder stitch, what you're going to do is take your sewing needle and make a stitch just through the antique white piece like this. So it's not going through the pink piece, it's just going through that antique white piece. And then you're going to pull all the way. And here I can actually remove the pin. And then you're going to take your sewing needle and make a stitch up here, just through the pink piece, and you're going to make it in between this area right here. So right there, in between the edge of the piece and where you made those stitches for the back stitch up here. So you're going to make a stitch just through the pink piece, and then come up like that. See that? And then you'll pull all the way. And there you go. So to do that again, you'll make a stitch just through the antique white piece, like that. Then you'll pull. Then you'll make a stitch just through the pink piece in between that area right there. So you'll make a stitch, just like that, and then again pull, and then you'll just keep doing that. Next, you're going to fill the plushie up with some fiberfill stuffing, sew this open and closed, and then make a few knots at the end just to hold everything in place. At this point, this is what your donut plushie should look like, and I just want to point out that if you're seeing that your donut has like wrinkles in it, it's probably because you didn't fill up your plush with enough stuffing. You'll be surprised at how much stuffing you actually have to put into the plushie to fill it completely and give it that nice donut shape. So if you're finding it has wrinkles, it's probably just because it's not filled up completely and you just need to add more stuffing. Now, with that being said, the next thing we're going to do is decorate our donut plushie. So one of the things that you can use to decorate your plushie is this piece right here, which is kind of like an icing drizzle and is one of the pattern pieces in my PDF file. So this is completely optional. You don't need to add this on if you don't want to, but if you do want to add it on, what I'm going to be doing is gluing it down, and I'm going to glue it down using tacky glue. The next thing I'm going to be doing is sewing some beads as sprinkles onto my donut plushie. And if you don't want to add beads onto yours, you most certainly don't have to. You can decorate your donut plushie however you want. So if you don't want to add beads, you don't have to. But if you do want to add beads, I'm going to be showing you how to do that. First, what we're going to do is take our sewing needle and make a stitch like this, and then pull all the way and make another stitch right around the same area, and then go through the loop and then pull. And we're just making a knot right here because we're going to be then making a stitch up like this, and this is where we're going to be putting the bead, and we don't want any loose thread inside the plushie because we want the thread to be nice and tight for the beads, because if there's any loose thread, you might not realize it right away, but later on if you pull a bead it might come loose, and you don't want that. You want it to be nice and tight on the plushie. So I'm just making that knot over there, and then you're going to pull. Then you're going to take a bead, pull it all the way down to the plushie, make a stitch right around here, and then come out through where you want the next bead to go. And then pull all the way. And there you go. Then we're going to add another bead on. So let's add a blue one. And then we're just going to pull it all the way down to the plushie, like that. Make a stitch here, and then come back through where you want the next bead to go. And pull all the way. And then I'll show you this one more time. So we'll take a bead, put it through the sewing needle, and then once you have the amount of beads that you're happy with on the plush, or you're starting to run out of thread, what you're going to do is make a stitch right around here, and then you're going to come back out around here. See that? And then you'll pull. And you want to come back over here to make the knot, because it doesn't matter if there's a knot here, because ultimately you're going to be pulling this piece down to hide any knots there. So it doesn't matter how messy it looks right here. So we're just going to make a knot right here by making a stitch, going through the loop, and pulling. We'll just do that a few times. Then you'll make a stitch and come out like over here, pull all the way, pull the thread real tight, and then cut the thread. So that's how you add the beads onto the top of your donut plushie, but I'm sure you're also going to want to add some beads onto this piece right here as well, which is kind of like the drizzle of icing that's going to be going around the donut plushie. So to do that, it's a lot easier. All you're going to do is take your sewing needle and make a stitch right where you want the bead to go and pull all the way. Then you're going to take a bead, put it through the sewing needle, and pull it all the way down to the piece of felt. Like that. Then you'll make a stitch right around here and pull. And there you go. You have a bead right there. And then to add another bead, you'll just make a stitch like this, pull, take another bead, pull it down to the felt, and then again make a stitch right around here and pull all the way. And then you can add as many beads as you want. That is completely up to you. And once you're happy or you start running out of thread on your needle, you can just make some knots on the back. So you'll make a stitch, go through the loop, pull all the way. Just like that, and then cut your thread. Now we're going to be using some tacky glue to glue this piece down onto the side of the donut. And to do that, you're just going to take your tacky glue and then you're gonna put it around here like that. Okay, and then you can see I didn't put the glue all the way to the edge of the piece. I kind of left a little bit that didn't have any glue. And the reason for that is because we're now going to pull this piece down, and then we're going to take a pin and we're going to pin the edges down. And you didn't want to put glue there because you don't want to glue the pins into the plushie, okay? You want to be able to pull the plushie, pull the pins out of the plushie once the glue dries. So be sure to not put glue all the way to the edges. And then you're just going to keep, you know, pulling this down and then pinning it down as you go. So we're going to add a bunch of pins. Just like this. And then you'll just keep doing that. So again, add glue around here, pull it down, pin it down, and then just keep doing it until this whole piece is glued down. Next, you're just gonna have to wait until all the glue dries, and once it's all dry, you can remove all the pins from the plushie, and make sure you remove all the pins. You don't wanna leave one in there by accident. If you don't want to put beads onto your plushie, but you still want the appearance of sprinkles on your donut, another option I was thinking of is you could take some felt and then just cut a long strip. Kind of like that. And then you can cut little rectangles out of this piece. And you can make these as big or as small as you want. That is completely up to you. But then you can glue these pieces down onto the donut plushie as sprinkles. So it's now the next day and the glue is dry, so we can remove all of these pins. And I'm gonna put them into the pin cushion. So you can just remove all of them. And like I was saying, make sure you remove all the pins because you don't want to leave any in there by accident and potentially, you know, squish the plushie and hurt yourself by having a pin in there. So make sure you get all of them out. Yeah, I have quite a lot of pins in here. So it's going to take quite a lot of pins to put them all the way around the donut plushie. But then once you have them all removed and the glue is all dry, your plushie will be all done. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and have lots of fun making your own donut plushies. I really appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. It means so much to me, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.